And I need you. We're live. We're live. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome to Real Talk. Getting ready to get started in just a few minutes. We're excited about what is going to take place right here on Real Talk. I have my wonderful co-host who's going to be still tonight. None other than Bishop T. Your mic is off. What doesn't happen? Say something. Let's see. We got you muted. We may have you muted. You're muted. Something going on with your mic there. Check your mic out. Oh, there we go. What about now? Say something.
Hello, hello, hello.
There you go. There you go.
You have me muted.
Well,
See what I'm talking about? But I'm not worried about that today. This is a new day, brand new day. How you doing, Reverend?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful.
Real talk. Real talk. We're excited. We want everyone that's joining us right here on Real Talk, whether you're on Facebook Live, conference call, or if you're on our YouTube channel, Andre Huff, like and subscribe. Share on your Facebook Live. We have something wonderful that's going to take place on this evening. That's right, this evening. We're going to talk about Etowah County, the past, the present, and the future. Got a special guest going to join us shortly, Mr. Fred Zackery. He's radio personality, talk show host, and part of the management there at the WMGJ radio station, 1240 on your AM dial. We're looking forward to conversing with him, and I'm sure you're going to gain a lot of knowledge listening to that young man. And we're also going to have our COVID-19 update from none other than our council member who brings it to us every week, District 3 of the Gaston City Council. Mr. Thomas Worthy will be joining us shortly. Anything you want to say to the people before we get started tonight, Bishop T?
Just glad to have those who are on. Please like, share, and tag 3 people to join in with the conversation tonight. And that's about it, Reverend. Thank you for allowing me to address the people.
Wonderful, wonderful. I like to do. Nice. Little Erica Badu, but okay. But what we're gonna do is we want you all to comment. Feel free to voice your opinion through your comments, ask any questions to our guests while we have them on. And we will post all of those right there on the screen. So if you're ready, we're ready. Let's go. All right. We're here. We are here. Listen, I want everyone to know this, that we are constantly asking people to get vaccinated. I know there's some incentives all over. I mean, I haven't heard from the Drake Kirkpatrick 21 Kids Foundation. We're going to hear a few things from Councilman Thomas Worthy concerning that and what the city is still offering and how you can get your vaccination shots. Schools are around the corner. A matter of fact, tomorrow is most of our children are returning back to school. We're going to talk a little bit with our special guest about his views and his thoughts about how our young people need to remain safe, ideals. We got a lot of things we're going to talk about on today. But we definitely are getting ready now to get our COVID-19 update for our city. We're going to bring a councilman on. So let's bring him on to do our COVID-19 update. All right. Mr. Thomas Worthy, what's up? What's up? What's up? You like
Come
that,
on
do you?
there.
Huh? What you think about that?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Do you have him muted too?
No, he's not muted. We can hear him. Now, can you hear us?
I can now.
There you
I
go.
heard the
Slide
intro.
a little bit this way. There you go. There you go. Now you're in the
Okay.
camera. Okay,
All
what you
right.
think about the intro to what we
Oh
put together?
man, that was great. I was not expecting that. Thank you
I
so
know it.
much. That was
Hey,
really
man,
nice.
I showed you getting your shot. I showed you,
Uh-huh.
I guess you was hanging out at the pool giving a do sign. Then you was a policeman and you had a little
Oh
hair on your
yeah.
head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
That
figured
was
you would
really
like that.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I'll bill you later.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna owe you a lot. You and
Yeah, yeah.
Bishop. Okay. Let's just jump right on
I don't
into
have anything to do with councilman.
Okay. Well, as of today, we get these reports. This report that I'm going to give you, they do it every month or every Monday. And this is about the amount of people that's been vaccinated with the first shot since we started to vaccinate Gaston. We're up to 460 people as of Monday. And I know Quality Life did some shots yesterday along with Drake Kirkpatrick 21 Kids Foundation. They gave out 10 $50 gift cards to the first 10 people that took the shot down in Colley Homes on North 6th Street. So I was down there a little while with my wife when she was giving out the cards. So that's good. So now when we get about 40 more people, when we get to that 500, then we'll do the drawing for $5,000. Each one of these people will get the $100 once they take their second shot. And we'll start giving that money out starting on August 18th on Wednesdays and Fridays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the second floor of City Hall. Also, we are now at 31% positive rate of everyone getting tested. That's up from the 25% from last week. I had a relative that was scheduled for surgery in the morning, and you know how they call you and tell you what time to be there. They called her today and told her that she cannot have a surgery of Gaston Regional because they're booked. They're just, it's so many patients, they're full. So at Gaston Regional, they have 45 COVID patients, 16 staff members that's out with it. Riverview Regional has 35, 11 critical, and 4 staff members. So this thing is not getting better. It's getting worse. Matter of fact, if you look at the map back in June, it was only one county in the state of Alabama in the red. Now, as of today, every county in the state of Alabama is in the red for critical. So we have to get people vaccinated. And I know some people are upset because we're giving $100 to get people vaccinated, but it's still their choice. But we are trying to get them to get that vaccine so we can stop the spread and so this thing won't keep mutating. And after a while, it's going to mutate, and we're not going to have a vaccine to control it. So right now, it's stopping people from going in the hospital. And I tried to get those numbers, but the hospitals here are not reporting those numbers of how many people that's in the hospital that's unvaccinated versus how many in the hospital that's vaccinated. But I did see a study done this morning on CNN where 89% of the people that's in the hospital in Mississippi was unvaccinated. So that leaves 11% that's in the hospital. So I'm sure it's about that here, maybe. I had to speculate, but it should be about that, somewhere close to that. So then I heard another city, 100% of everybody that was in the hospital was unvaccinated. So like I said, you can still get your shots on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the health department from 8:30 to 3 p.m. They were just doing it on Tuesdays, but now they're upping it to Thursdays also. And then this Saturday, the 21 kids, let me correct that, 21 kids, Draper Kirkpatrick Foundation, they will be doing a Hispanic community outreach vaccination clinic. The event location will be at Jasmine Lopez Agency, which is located at 758 Forest Avenue. That's right across from the Judicial Building, right across from the courthouse. The event time, it will start at 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. They will be giving out hot dogs and sodas for individuals that's been vaccinated. And they also will be giving out I believe they're going to be giving out the cards. I don't see it on here, but so I better not say that about the gift cards. So scratch that. I have to get a clarification on that. But do y'all have any questions?
Yes. Tell Dre sign that check over to me too.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll do it.
And whoever in charge of Dre Kirkpatrick Foundation. Y'all getting all this free advertisement, man.
You're absolutely right. And that's how you got to make a little money that way. You got to pay the bills, right?
No, we got to pay the bills.
You got to pay the
we
bills.
got bills to pay.
Absolutely. So,
yes, sir. But we thank you, man, for sacrificing. And people need to know that you're a councilman and you have multiple jobs, you do multiple things, but you're not beneath coming on to our Real Talk show to inform the people what's actually going on with the city and what's actually going on with this virus. So we appreciate you taking your time out, man, to come on here every Wednesday. Matter of fact, every Wednesday when I dial your number, you own it. You say you'll be here. So we thank you, man, and we appreciate you.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Hey, man, that was Councilman Thomas Worthy, District 3. We appreciate him giving us that COVID-19 update. What you think about the numbers, Bishop?
We've just got to make every effort to get people vaccinated. At the same time, I do believe that we have to make an effort to remind people. This is something that I heard. I listened to the city council meeting on, when was it, yesterday? And one thing that I did hear, the language. This thing is back. And I think that's the problem. This pandemic, this COVID has never left. We just started vaccinating people, so we can't relax. We have to stay on the wall. We have to stay at it, making sure that we get people vaccinated, as well as, I feel, wearing the mask. And so we definitely need to make sure that we keep masking up. And that we encourage our loved ones to get vaccinated. One thing that I did hear on CNN this morning, that people, those that are vaccinated, it's 99.9% that are not having any breakthrough cases. So the percentage is still very small of those who are vaccinated that have been infected. Have been affected by the virus. And so we got to make sure that the vaccine is doing what it was purposed to do. Keep the cases from getting to the point of hospitalization, as well as death, and as well as it mutating. So we got to, we got to get vaccinated, and we got to wear the mask,
He made a statement that, this thing after a while may mutate to a point where we won't have a vaccination for it. And that's very dangerous if we don't get this thing under control. So we're doing our best trying to get it under control. We're praying that you all reach a point in your real future, real near future, that you will feel comfortable receiving that shot and removing all doubt about all the rumors and all the different things that are being said concerning that. We just want people to live, and we want to live as well as long as we can. So we are moving to the point now. We thank Thomas Worthy again for that COVID update. Let's go to our topic for today. We're going to be dealing with Etowah County, the past, present, and the future. Past, present, and the future. Let's bring on radio personality, talk show host of Retrospect, none other than the world-renowned Mr. Fred Zackery. What's up, Doc?
Hey, man.
How are you?
Hey, Biz. I'm
Hey.
glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. And hear that COVID update is scary, man. But glad to be here.
Amen. Amen. Listen, just before we get started, what you talk about today on your show? Your show comes on WMGJ Radio 1240 on your AM dial. You can live stream at www.wmgjam.com wherever you are. What was your topic on today? Did you have a guest today?
It was a pre-recorded program today.
Okay.
I was out of pocket today. I was down. We cut the ribbon for a new program, a reading program in 6th Street, state of the art, everything. We're trying to focus on getting people to understand that children can read by 3, not by the 3rd grade.
Okay.
So that's a part of the focus of that program. And Ms. Moffitt and all of the folk from Gadsden State to Mr. Reddick to folks all across the spectrum are involved in this program. A lot of collaboration. So I was dealing with that today.
That was good.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful program. So you guys go down there and look in at some time. And there were a couple of things that were involved. We got some scholarship promises and some money for transportation when we can travel.
Okay.
So that's a new thing that's going to be happening in short order.
All right. Okay.
That's what we were talking about.
That sounds good. Something Bishop say all the time right here on Real Talk. She said we got to be more proactive.
I agree.
Be active.
I totally agree.
And if I steal a line from her, that's one of the lines I hear her say all the time. We got to be proactive and teaching them to read by 3. I think is being proactive. Being proactive. So today we want to get you on. Let's talk about Etowah County. I was going to mention Gadsden, but with things taking place, it's bigger than what they know. The city of Gadsden.
Right.
It's actually Rainbow City. It's all over the place. So Etowah County. Let's talk about the past first of all. The past has not been pretty. And you have emphasized that so much on your show. So we know about quite a bit of what have happened in the past. And I think the past kind of resemble the present in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
So just give us your view of the past, because you have a little more years on earth than the bishop and I. So you know probably more about the past than we will ever know, and how it's resembling the present.
Well, actually, the years have sort of stopped. There's been no real transition in productivity and progress. Yeah, some things have changed. I don't know about it to hear me say that, and that things haven't changed. But the more they change, the more they have remained very similar and the same. Etowah County is the smallest county in the state. It is interesting place because we have not moved beyond some of the segregationist things, and I'm not talking about black guys marrying white women or vice versa. That happens, but the institutional reality is that we are basically the same. There is no black a Hispanic judge in Etowah County. I'm not talking about the municipal judges. I'm talking about those that send you to the prison. There is no the only black official we have in Etowah county government is Mr. Washington.
Right.
And he's the county commissioner for a district that was carved out to be a minority district. So that way, the sheriff, I mean, these are elected offices. So many of them, there's never been a CEO at the county that looked like us. The probate judge, there's never been a probate judge that looks like us. And you can go around the country and look at small counties and small places, and you'll find African American people, Hispanic people in positions where they're just not happening. So it's an interesting place to be because we have so much change that can be made that hasn't been made. So we got a lot of changing to do, and we got to turn this ship around in a little while. And so when we start to getting our kids to read by 3, then those kids, and we're talking about long term, those are going to be the people who turn this around. But we got to do something while we're waiting on that to happen, while we're feeding that beast. So, Etowah County is basically the same. You got about 4% African American business, and I'm talking about people with a business license and pay taxes and so forth. It's about 15%, between 12 and 15% minority. It's about a 15 to 20% post-secondary educated county. So we are looking at the value of education has not been extolled to the point that we need to be up in a red clapping about. But we need to become a more educated county. Education does not necessarily mean certification. It does mean that we need to have some thought processes where creative thinking becomes of value to all of us. And we don't have to be up pleading with folks to take a vaccine and they start talking about the Tuskegee experiment. It's just really strange. I left here for 32 years. I came back, and it's basically the same as it was when I left. There are no real opportunities for young people. This is why they don't stay. They move to Atlanta, Huntsville, Nashville, Chicago, New York, all around the place to find a place where they can socialize and have opportunities to have good professional employment. So that's still about the same. That's the same reason I left when I left. I don't want to teach school. I don't want to work at Goodyear. I don't want to work at the steel plant. So I had to leave. And I spent all of those years in D.C. And it's a little different, but it's very much so the same.
You made the statement about there's no real opportunities, and that's why a lot of our young people are leaving. We dealt with the past, we dealt with the present, and that you left 30 years ago because there was no opportunity. People are leaving now because there's no opportunity. And with things floating in the air, Goodyear's closed now. You didn't want to work there, but it's closed now. Steel Mill is closed now. You didn't want to work there. We got plenty of schools, and we only have, and I'm gonna be honest with you because it's real talk. We really had only one councilman fighting for the city to put money into our school system. So right now you got some elected officials that could care less, along with a mayor, about what our schools will or will not survive. But what the future look like to you with I just heard recently Olive Garden may be coming to take over the old Logan's spot. Uh, Still car lots and mattresses businesses coming into our city, and the big that's supposed to change gas and uh, manufactory is the rendering. And that I see signs everywhere about the rendering. Stop the rendering. Stop the rendering. Now, the pros about the rendering is going to create a whole lot of jobs. And I guess it was supposed to take the place and employ more than what your Goodyear and your steel plant had employed. But there are some cons to this rendering. First of all, I want you to explain to the listeners, those that don't know what the rendering is, the rendering plant is. But I want you to share with us what is the rendering plant, what it does, uh,
Well,
and give us your viewpoint on the pros and the cons. We want to know true information.
let's start with the number of jobs. It's not going to create anywhere close to the jobs that Goodyear or steel plant had during the time they were in operation. Nowhere close, not even a tenth of the jobs. The jobs, when you start to looking at the average pay, it says around $20, $25 an hour. But you're figuring average. You know what averaging? Averaging is designed to fool the public. Average means the big wigs who are making the $100,000 salaries and beyond. With same way with average then with the folks who are making $10 an hour
Right.
or $12 an hour. So you get that kind of average. Most rendering plants employ between 25 and 35 employees. This one is said to be a few more, maybe 100 or so, but we don't know. It is rendering is a stinky business. It is taking dead carcasses, turning them into other kinds of products like dog food, cat food. What do you call those? Anyway, pills of various sorts. But we know from the smell of it, it's not going to be a place that induces a plant that induces or encourages folk to come to Gadsden, neither other businesses or people to migrate here. It stinks to the high heavens. It is, if you pass by and smell something dead on the road and you get pulled into your system and you have to ride for 3 or 4 minutes, you can begin to think about what a rendering plant would mean here 24/7. And I was questioning today, well, it won't come to East Gadsden. It may be located in East Gadsden if it gets here, but when the wind blows, the stench blows. It is like a stench you have never smelled before, except if you're accustomed to smelling rotting carcasses. Death is what it smells like, the rot of death. And so you get the transport of all of these carcasses into this plant, where they take the carcass and turn it into something else, which uses 700,000 gallons of water a day that's going to be pushed into our system. So who pays for all of it? The rendering plant? Or would Gadsden Waterworks be giving us another increase so that we can have the dirty water that we're still having as a result of the carpet manufacturers up in Dalton flushing some stuff downstream that will be here for 125 years. So all of this is the rendering plant. If the rendering plant didn't stink, And I couldn't go outside on my back porch, and sit for a minute or two if the wind's blowing okay. Now, if the wind's blowing my way, I'm staying in the house. And I'm going to turn the air off so that I'd have to be suffocating in the house because the air conditioning unit pulls in the stench. This is a stinky business. And people who want to say it's about jobs, the city, it's about death, it's about flies, it's about buzzards, it's about maggots, it's about your streets being messed up and all these drippings coming through various neighborhoods. It's about a truck that's going to break down and the sun's going to bake those carcasses. I don't know why people don't understand what a rendering plant is, but we got a lot of people who don't. And if you haven't been exposed to one, then I'm happy for you because it's a scent that you will never get, you know, and it is horrible. Now, as we look at that kind of, it's not a chicken plant, people. It's a death plant. It's a plant where you bring bones and rotten carcasses to be transposed into a product. Most often, it's animal food, so it's not a chicken plant. There's no odor. I wish I could put it in a bottle and just smell it. There's no odor as odorific as the rendering plant. And it's not going to enhance development in Gaston because usually if you go on and research small towns and villages that have rendering plants, the businesses are built around the rendering plant. So it's very similar kinds of businesses, very low wage earners, and it's just not conducive. The environment has to be, even if you're paying $1,000 an hour, that might be a little bit more okay, but not totally because environment is extremely important.
Right.
You know,
And
so
and when they was talking about the environment, what they talking about placing it, they actually was saying it's going to affect, you know, the schools where the kids can't go on the playground and play during recess because of the smell of it. Bishop, you want to dive in here and ask any questions concerning?
I do want to ask a question. And so with everything that you've said, is it our mayor and councilman who are pushing for the rendering plant to come here? Are they the corporates of it, or?
well, it's the development arm of the mayor's office. So the mayor has to have some complicity in this whole thing. Even though he said back, they all said they didn't know how Gaston became the place where the plant was to come. But you know that's a lie. And Bishop, if you follow the money, that's a very valuable phrase. Follow the money. You know, they know Gadsden we're not the shining city on the hill that just deserved a rendering plan. So it is not in our best interest to have, it's in our best interest for the commercial development component to go out and find some businesses that are compatible with a beautiful river that runs through the middle of the city, with the mountain ranges that surround us, and the wildlife and so forth, and the wonderful people who live here and enjoy this. This will cut back on your activities so severely because it's a horrible smell. And you're saying if you put it down there by the airport, it's going to be okay. The wind blows a different way every day. And so when it blows east, it's going to come my way. If it blows west, it's going to go somebody. If it blows north and south, we're all going to be affected by, especially right down here in Gaston, by a rendering plant that should not be here as a part of any progressive looking forward to make sure that we have appropriate development for our young people and things that they should be able to do.
And just from what you're saying, I agree with you I don't really see it going down on 77. I see it possibly being in East Gadsden or in some predominantly black or brown community. Let me ask this. With that, as far as educating people, because I have gained a great deal of information. I have seen the no reject the rendering plant signs. And in my mind, you've educated me tonight because I thought it was much like the chicken plant. I grew up in East Gadsden, and I know that's a stench in itself. I grew up just up the hill from it. So, what do you think is the solution, or what do you think would make can it be stopped? Do you think it can be stopped? What would we need to do? And then I have a concern after sitting here listening tonight of how can we educate our people so that we're just not bystanders who allow this to take place.
Well, one of the things we can do is to open our minds to the fact that this is not a black or white issue. It's a stinky issue. If it gets put into our community, some of the white folks don't get the stench too. We'll just get it a little bit.
All of them gonna get it.
Yeah, we all won't suffer from it. So we all need to coalesce together, come together, and coordinate an effort. Those people, the rejected rendering people, have spent an enormous amount of money for legal fees and that kind of stuff. And we don't have the money, number one, but we don't want to put up what we have to make sure that we have legal representation to stop some of the things. If they could have eased this over in East Gadsden, they would have. And the mega site was a place they talked about, but you need $24 million for sewer and water and stuff to the mega site. So that wasn't going over there. And all of this volleying back and forth. And I had a talk with a young lady today who said, well, nobody thought about the chicken plant when they put it in our neighborhood. I grew up in East Gadsden, well, in Green Pastures. So I know what the chicken plant smells. I have been to rendering towns. Oh, mercy, I wish I could take it. The chicken plant smells nowhere close to what rendering smells like. So what we can do, we can join these folk to keep rendering out of our city so that it does not have an option coming to East Gadsden rather than being where it is. And then if you start to looking at the location, buzzards by the swarm follow rendering plants. Buzzards like this. So they follow rendering plants. And where they're proposing to put it is at the end of a runway at the airport, which to me would signal some kind of danger. We need to employ the resources in our community to not gravitate towards saying, oh, if it was over here, they wouldn't care. Maybe they wouldn't. But the point is, it's not over here yet. And if it comes here, the whole city is going to suffer, just like it will if it goes there. So we don't need a rendering plant in Gadsden. And then we can get back to the business of black and white. This is about stink.
Right.
Messing up your environment so you can't get out and play spades or sit around the grill and grill up. You're going to have more to worry about than mosquitoes. If the rendering plant comes, it's going to change the charm of this wonderful place we have called Gadsden. The environment is so pristine still here, but we would lose that just through that horrible death smell.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, because I know that a new council or a new mayor will enter into and that office on next year. I don't think the current mayor is going to run again. And if they try to push that through or get it through, it's going to be a whole new administration is going to have to deal with it. I did hear about some of that the whole rendering thing, are they in court or something? Where do we
They are.
stand with that? Because I
Yeah.
haven't heard it come up on the books or them voting on it. And I do know that there are some councilmen that are in favor, and there are some councilmen who's not. I'm hearing there's some death threats. A letter's been sent to schools, to some of the councilmen's uh, wives or spouses. And so I've seen some of this stuff plastered on Facebook as well. So where are we with this issue?
Well, we're with some folks lying about what's going on. You know, death threats. I don't know. I doubt it. Um, it's been hyperbolized to the point that it's very difficult to believe some of the folks about it. Now, I say you have the right to fall on either side, you know, but it's an awful put down when you think about just living here and not having the quality of life that we've always had, which has not been perfect, like Bishop said. East Gaston smell like fresh chicken. I mean, for a long time. But these are opportunities for us to put some fire under our folk to do a better job of finding the kinds of employment that will grow Gaston rather than to destroy it. Gaston has not grown. It's had a loss of population for the last 5 decades. 5 decades. Gaston used to be right up at 70,000 population. Now it's around 32. Some people prop it up and say 36. It's not 36,000 people. So when we say 32, that might be a slight exaggeration as well. So we're a very small village. And we have the opportunity, even if we don't grow the village to huge numbers, we can bring in quality employment. We can bring in a tax base that makes us enviable when we start talking about small places. And to wait on that bypass highway to come through, many of you will be gone on home, and that will not be here. So it's just kind of important that we keep our eyes on the prize. And the eye is to be on what is coming in to mitigate the poverty in Gadsden. Let me tell you this. A family of 4 in Gadsden, average income is less than $30,000. That's poor. And when you have folk who spend $23 million to renovate a Kmart, you know, and a recreation department that only comes to Nakalula Falls. So we are in trouble about a few things. And a new administration, depending on who the administration is, would be interesting. Craig Ford is being pushed by the establishment. I won't get into the conversation, but anyway.
We'll get to talking about that in just a few minutes. Now, I know you used to talking on the radio. Can you move this way a little bit? Let me see.
This way or this way?
Yeah, I want you to be center a little bit more this way.
I'm gonna have a makeup artist here next time if I do one of these.
Yeah, you right good there. Right there where you
okay, move, all right.
Move a little bit this way.
This way. Okay.
Right
I'm not a television.
Right there. Stay right there. Okay. There you go. That's good. So the people can see you. Listen, I want everybody to know that you can follow us right here on Real Talk on our conference call number 1-646-224-5980. PIN number is 334-1986. We have a few people that's on our conference call line right now. We're on Facebook Live on Z. Andre Huff page, Bishop T page, Tanya Latham page, the Mount Zion Baptist Church page, and you can follow us on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, Z. Andre Huff, like and subscribe. We welcome all comments and questions while you're here. So please go ahead and say whatever you desire to say. Share, let everyone know that Real Talk is up and running. We have our host, Bishop T, and our special guest is none other than Mr. Fred Zackery, radio personality, talk show host of Retrospect. He's here with us tonight on Real Talk. Listen, we had a statement come up. Said, according to council meetings, I believe that's what it was supposed to say there had already been several backdoor conversations regardless of the apparent will of the people.
Had to be.
Yeah.
Had to be. You know, there is no way you're going to have Pilgrim's Pride injecting the amount of money into this community that they have thus far without somebody saying, yeah, you can come in.
Okay. All right. Now, and Ms. Joyce Rogers said, thank you for the information because I didn't really know the effects of the plant. That's a big difference between the chicken plant. Yes, we need to get on that. So the people are very appreciative of what we're discussing tonight. Thank you, Pastor Bishop and Mr. Fred, for the information. We really needed this. And then Joyce Rogers said they talking about a few jobs. What about people's health and environment stage? And there is Stacy Oates. Thank you, Reverend Huff, Bishop Tanya, and Mr. Fred for all the information. So the people they haven't received all the information they need to receive. And they're receiving some today, and we pray for and hopefully that there other people will gather this information and respond accordingly.
And Pastor, I encourage people to source the information. If you don't believe anything I'm saying, go and look at several sources. The Pilgrim's Pride is one of the worst in terms of violations. Health code violations, violations in terms of what they're dumping into the water, violations of all kinds, and pay huge amounts in lawsuits and that kind of thing. So we just need to stand together. We can go back to our fighting, which we should stop that as well after this is all said and done. But we don't need a rendering plan.
Okay.
We need people to understand that we don't need to be hiding out in our homes and in the basements and trying to put on masks to just withstand the odor that comes from a rendering plant.
Okay. And that's what we're looking at right now. Presently, we're dealing with this. So your opinion to make Etowah County a productive as well as progressive, strong progressive, hard progressive city to get us on the right road from where you sit and your opinion. What would need to take place in our city? Let me say this before you get started with that. I suggested, I think last time that we had the election, and we had people that was that did we was over at Wills Creek. Remember we had what was that we call?
The
Debate. The debate.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked the question, if you look around, you can look in Piedmont, go up to Coleman, even Blount County, Aniana area. How in the world can they have a water park that will attract our young people, and you will attract all type of people that will come into our city, that will use our restaurants and our motels, tourists. You have these people coming into our city. I remember here at Mount Zion, we packed up 2 buses for Vacation Bible School, went up to Spring Valley Beach, just right up the road to their water park. We spent over $2,500 on tickets. That's revenue coming in. You got tourists that's going to be staying in your motels, shopping. They're going to be eating. There's money coming into our city. Why is it we got the Coosa River water from here to Egypt, and you can't have a water park here or something that will attract tourists to come into our city and to spend money here. Well, we don't have to pack up and go somewhere else to enjoy it. We can be more than just a ghost town, because that's apparently what we're coming. People are coming to Gaston just to retire.
And you know that's true. But let me tell you this. I before the pandemic, I was going to Birmingham a lot to eat, or to Atlanta. I just get bored and go to eat or meet some friends. And you see people all the time from Gadsden down there in those restaurants and those various places. I don't know why they don't want it here. But one thing I can say is this: you have to have a shot of intellectual stimulus and creative ability in order to make things happen. We got folks my age and older creating the vision for tomorrow. Hell, what? Excuse me. What kind of vision can you have after you have reached your level of competence? You know, and I'm not saying all folks have reached their level of competence, but what I am saying is step out the way. Quit running for a council at 75. Quit taking all of the appointments at 76. Give these kids and these young people an opportunity to explore their reality from a creative and intellectual perspective. We don't do that. Everybody wants to put something on their resume that's closer to the epitaph on their tombstone. So when we get to the point where we begin to use the resources that we have, which are our young people, and stop throwing them away. Yeah, they've been to jail. Pookie been to jail. That's okay. She had a baby young. That's okay. We still have to mine the resources from those sources, because some of those are the best resources we have. But we find ourselves pushing them to the side, throwing them away. And I'm going to say this, and I have two preachers here. Get up off the knees and stop praying all the time and do what you can do that you're asking God to do. You can do it.
Yeah.
He's always in the picture, but you can do it. And we just, I'm praying for you. Pray for me, but get up and do some work. And that's what we're not doing here. A new administration just like this one. Let's see, the average age on that council now, probably David Williams is the youngest, and he's no spring chicken. And then you got Ben Reed, who's close to 90. And then you just back it down, Cynthia and all of the rest of them. And then you have a council who takes everything personal. Why you talk to your constituents in a manner that is denigrating to them, and you try to put them in their place? And I'm not here to do everything. You got to do some personal accountability. We all know about personal accountability. We were personally accountable when we elected you to those offices. So you be personally accountable as an officer who was elected by us to us. And that's simply not what's happening. We don't hold our council people responsible. When we have a president of the council who went out and assumed her role as Emma Sampson's cousin to keep them from moving that statue, then we should have been calling for her resignation.
Come on.
You know, so, but we don't do that. We are just so timid. I don't care if it had been my mama. She would have done something wrong. If she, and to say, you know, you're trying to stop a race riot and all that kind of stuff, none of that was going to happen. We have got to hold our folks accountable. And everybody, you know, understands. We haven't had folks on the council for many years. Robert Avery, I think, was one of the first. We've had a few, but we haven't had that. We had a council with 4 African Americans, not to tear up anything or do anything different, but to be good stewards and offer good governance for all of us, the white folks, the black folks, the blue folks, the green folks. They didn't do that. They came in and kept it status quo. Well, this time, I certainly hope that people running will have a vision for the city. You know, this is one of the few places I've been where you don't have any inter exchange between the folk running for mayor. Nobody, Sherman didn't debate Carolyn or anybody else. He went and sat in black folks' churches and grinned and skinned and showed up a few places. And that was his contribution to us. And then anytime you have a mayor who would say that you didn't vote for me, so I'm not doing anything for you, that is not somebody you need to call favor from. So mayors and council people are not doing us favors. And then you hear these folks say all the time, well, I did this, I did that. Anytime you're using taxpayer money, the taxpayers are doing what you say you're doing in terms of spending. Discretionary money is our money. And so it should be spent in a way that's compatible with our needs in our communities. The community development block grant money, they use it to do facades downtown. How many black businesses you have downtown? What, 2 or 3? And their facades were already done. Then they use it to pave roads. They say in the most needed communities where my community don't get too much paved. These are, and that money should be spent. 92% of it comes in on the back of black and poor people. So that money should be spent from the bottom up, and we don't do that.
So let me ask you a question. Not ask the question, but make a statement. Some of the elected officials, when you're elected to an office, and I'm elected to a position on the school board, when I speak, I pray that I'm representing the people who put me in position. I pray that I'm being their voice on the board. I'm considering their feelings and where they stand, as you live right there with them. So there's no way you don't already have an idea of what they're looking for, because you there with them as well. It's been sad to see some of the things that took place and have taken place. I've been in some of the council meetings, and I've seen where Councilman Worthy has tried to get some things done down by Carver. He wanted a stage down there. And it's one thing to see the Caucasian people vote against it. But when your own kind vote against that, that's hurtful there. I mean, you expect that from those who don't live there, who had never seen that, who never used those facilities. But when you got people of your own kind that will join, and when they know this is the only opportunity I have, because y'all are on the council with me to receive these funds, and yet it's the present look just like the past, regardless of who's sitting in those chairs.
The chairs are occupied by people who have a different vision of themselves. Number one, when you start to thinking you're better than other people, then you find yourself trying to act like you're better than other people. When you start trying to forget your past, then you don't produce anything worthwhile for the future. So when you come out, I say anybody who serves on city council should have had to meet a payroll at some time or another. Not just come in and start spending taxpayer money willy-nilly and going to this place and laying up in this hotel when you never laid up in a first-class hotel before. You were spending the people's money. But it is time we understand that everybody that look like us is not like us. Everybody don't cherish the memories and the things that we have gone through as a people. And I guess sometimes I maybe talk about it too much. We are a part of this community that's been here for a very long time and neglected for a very long time. And so the neglect has become the place where we kneel on to pray. We're kneeling on neglect to pray. We got to get up off of neglect and do some work and re-elect some people. Elect some new people have a conversation with the mayor. Stop being overly joyed if he shows up at one of your functions.
Mm.
You know what? So what? The mayor showed it. The mayor's here. Oh, what? The mayor's here. What has he done for you lately?
Mm.
That's my question. What has he done for Tuscaloosa lately? What has he done for Green Pastures lately? You got Hughley Park over there with one pole of electricity on.
Wow.
That's in Miss what's her name? Miss Toll's district. So and she was over there 2 years ago. And it was pointed out to her that we had one pole of electricity, and it's still that same one pole. But she's down there riding the swings at Marana Park.
Wow.
So it is not clear to me why we don't expect more from our leadership.
Yeah.
It's not clear to me.
And the community has got to get so much in an uproar that they decide they want different and put somebody in there different. I mean,
That they
Bishop T,
deserve different. That
Bishop
they
T,
deserve better.
right.
I was about to say he made a good point. The problem is you've got people who look like us on that council. You just said it. We're not using, or we're not doing anything in the Black community, like going to Carver, experiencing the stage there. We down on the drive somewhere doing whatever we're doing instead of demanding and commanding change in those communities. We have forgotten from whence we've come, and so it is important. If after today, making us aware and addressing these issues, what is it that we can do? I agree with you totally. Prayer, I believe in prayer. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in God manifesting himself. I do believe he allows us to function. We need to do what we're able to do. And sometimes we're so busy praying and calling on God that really there's work, there's simple things that we can do as a people to invoke change. So tonight, what can we say to people who are on here that when this show ends, we could be doing tomorrow morning? Is that contacting our councilman, and not just for the rendering plant, and not just being visible when it's time for an election, but what can we do tomorrow morning to start invoking this change or making our voices heard, or what, especially where the rendering plant is concerned. And like you say, it's not a black or white issue, it's a stink issue. It's a health issue for this city, for this county. So what is it that we can do? Because I see people commenting, I see people saying yes, amen in this and amen in that. But here again, what is the action that we need to take even as soon as in the morning, the next couple of days, instead of amen? Because we good for that.
Yeah.
We good for talk.
And I'm behind.
Yeah.
Right.
Behind.
But then you look behind you and people are not there, or it gets sticky, it gets hard, it gets tough, and people run away from you.
I would say one of the things that's very important, that's critical to our community, is to learn where you need to position yourself as it relates to the people who represent you, to understand their record, to know what they voted for and what they voted against, to know what's been put in our community and what's been taken out. You know, if you look around, you see a bunch of empty lots. On my street, there are maybe 5 or 6, 7 houses now, and it used to be a vibrant street. Well, what we have to do is to educate ourselves on the processes. We don't know the process. We don't know what the city clerk does. We don't know what the mayor's responsibility is as opposed to the council's responsibility. The council sets the budget. Mm-hmm. But you hear council people say, oh, we're a weak council and a strong mayor. Anytime you have control of the money, you're strong.
Yeah.
You know, but how do we get these folks to come together? We don't. We get a new group. We get a new group, and I'm advocating for this. Council people who have not produced, who hadn't had a meeting even before the pandemic in 3 or 4 years in their community, who think they're better than the people who live in certain parts of their community, they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have a plan once they go as community people. What do we want? What do we want in East Gaston? What do we? I would like to see them build a community center in East Gaston with an aquatic piece to it. Swimming pool.
That's what Coleman has. We actually
know?
able to go to their aquatic center,
but we don't. That wasn't even considered in this plan for the East Gaston Community Center. We need to have a budgeting process that comes to our community to say, what do you guys want in this budget? You don't have that. You have a couple of meetings on a reading or two, and you go sit there and you really don't have an opportunity to ask questions because you hadn't seen the budget. How do you ask questions about a budget you haven't seen? The budget should be deconstructed in our community to let us know so that we can understand what's in it. We don't even understand what's in it. So, Bishop Latham, we got to understand, starting tomorrow, folks need to go online and figure out what a mayor council form of government is about. And then we need to begin to understand how they set the budget. How do they determine who is going to be paid longevity pay, which should have been cut out many years ago? You don't need to pay these folks all of this money, and 99% of them not because back in the day they were only hiring white folks and still are. This is a longevity pay that pays you X amount of dollars on each check for the years that you have been there over a certain amount of years. So it's over $1 million now for those people who are getting longevity pay. That is not something that's money that could be redirected somewhere else. Longevity pay, people are making it. The longer you up there, the longer you are there for. You get longevity pay. You get a nice fat check, and it also rolls into what you get in retirement. Very few Black folks have longevity in the city of Gaston. So that's one of the things. We have 26 managerial positions under the mayor, not one Black. Not one. That's when I talk about 26 and old. We don't have any input into what's going on, and we are 46% of the population. We don't get to say a word. We just get to pay our taxes. If we work, they tax us for working. That's called that occupational tax. If you go and buy something, you pay 10 cents on a dollar. I go to Rome, Georgia, and different places where the tax is 6 or 7% to make large purchases. And I shouldn't have to leave where I live to make a decent purchase. So it is just time that we understand what's going on.
So and very much so, it's time that we gain knowledge and power. We've got to have knowledge. And I want to say this because I remember, you learn things in school. But I remember when Barack Obama was elected president, and so many say, well, he didn't do anything, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. We had to make our communities knowledgeable of the fact you elected a president, but you didn't show back up to the polls 2 years later to elect those senators and congressmen. Those are things, and it's just like you're saying, we have got to educate ourselves because, the wealth of knowledge that it's like I'm just living here. And hearing you say now that there are 26 managerial positions and none of them are occupied by Black or brown people. What are we're here to just really build this community and not really have a voice. So the information that we've been given tonight should urge us to get the information and knowledge that we need, because to make the necessary changes at the ballot box, whether it and to see those changes, not just to say, oh, well, we have 3 or 4 councilmen. We need people in those managerial positions. So definitely the need to be educated and gain knowledge.
And if you talk to some of the council people, I have a great deal of respect for my council person. That's Mr. Worthy. But if you talk to some of the council people and you say, why aren't you acting more to involve more Black people to be hired? Well, we don't have nothing to do with the hiring. That's the mayor's job. But you get your child a job. You know, your son or your daughter gets a job. You don't have nothing to do with hiring, but you can help them get a job. You don't have to have anything to do with hiring. You command the budget. You command the money. So you can talk to the mayor about diversity. They're scared of that because they don't want to offend any of their white friends. So if you can't be my white friend and sit and sip the tea with me with truth, then I don't need you boyfriend anyway. We are in the position of having to deal with painful governance that we don't have any role. And that's just it. And the county is no different. The county is nepotistic to the point that, you know, if it got any worse, the feds would probably have to come in and take control. Everybody's somebody's uncle, somebody's aunt, somebody's cousin, you know, and they pass the job down through, and then they start talking about education. But there's some people in some of these jobs at the city have no more education than a frog, you know. And you can sense that when you deal with them. Very nice people down there, but you can sense that when you deal with them. They rote learn their position, and if they get something a little different, they're totally thrown off base. How well, how did this happen? Now, we've been doing it this way ever since I've been here for 45 years. Where you've been doing it wrong for 45 years. We have to stand up, and I don't mean be hateful, rightful people, but we have to stand up and demand the part of what is here that's ours. And I'm gonna eat this elephant one bite at a time. So I'm on my elephant. I'm not. We have to demand what is due us, not asking anybody to give us nothing. What James Brown said, you know, we gotta demand the things that we are supposed to have. The water here, lids or whatever covers are blowing up in certain neighborhoods, and children are being washed off in a car into a ravine because of flooding in our neighborhoods, and nobody says anything about it. We come and we'll complain a little bit about it, but until we get to the point that we demand what's right for us, we're not gonna get it.
You're right. You're right.
From
This is
black
real
or
talk.
white.
This is real talk, and listen, you can't get no realer than Mr. Fred Zackery, radio personality, um, talk show host, a retrospect right there, and part of the management of WMGJ, located on Tuscaloosa Avenue. Mr. Fred Zackery, of course, we thank all of you for joining us, and we do let everyone know that the conference call number and the different outlets that you can actually receive this show. We want you to comment. If you got any questions or comments, you're more than welcome. You made the statement about changing those councilmen. Listen, if we're going to put, as Bishop would say, Black or brown people in these positions or replace them, we got to remember, just because they look like us, they may not respond like us or react like us. We got to make sure we know what these people stand for, what they ideals are. If they, they're going to put boots to the ground, if they really are someone that could actually represent us the way we need to be represented. Question: that center seat, the head seat, the mayor seat, is there a chance or a possibility that it'll be filled after the election next year with someone who looked like us?
That's a good question. I'm hesitant to answer that because we scrutinize our own harder than anybody. Oh, she didn't speak to me. Oh, he didn't speak to me. Oh, that kind of silliness has nothing to do with governance. And then we have a tendency as a group of people to be jealous. They live over there on the waterfront. Why all of it. What is important is to understand that we need boots on the ground, people who think in such a way that it brings the community together. We also need a good white folks in positions. We need to support those who support us. And when we look at next year's election, we got to look beyond who it is that are going to give us some $20 bills, and you get out and put yard signs in the yards of black folk for a Confederate. We cannot be debased that way this time around.
Yeah. And we want to promote change. It's time to, and this is what Bishop and I has, this whole talk show, we wanted to make sure it wasn't a Bible study. We wanted people to understand this is real talk. We want to do those things or say those things or speak those things that matter. That's going to create change. We have a civil duty, even as ministers, as humans, we have a civil duty to try to make things around us better. And that's what we want to do. That's why we're bringing on people that's going to bring information, true information that we can do something with it. And then we're asking questions. What can we do in order to start making this change? So we pray that those 40 people that we've had connected to this particular broadcast will tell 40 other people, and they would tell 40 other people, and they continue to multiply, that we would start making some change and a difference. We want to see Gaston boom. We want to see Gaston grow. We want to see people be so attractive to Gaston that real good industries will come that will pay real money, and that our environment we'll be able to still go outside and do our barbecues, and like you said, play cards and maybe fan flies and tell lies. I don't know. But
wash your car.
Yeah, wash our car. Listen, you made a statement a few minutes ago, and this is Bishop T's auntie, who actually clarifies, about some of the things that they requested for to happen at the particular new structure over in East Gaston that is being built. She said the community asked for that aquatic system, swimming pool. We still have it in print. Whether they're going to get it or not, they asked for it.
No, not going to get it. It was taken out the budget.
Right, and I know that Ms. Latham is very involved with the Lincoln. I think is it Tanya, Lincoln Hill, Lincoln Heights, Lincoln and Miller Heights development. Yeah, and so they're always having meetings and trying to invite the council people and asking for certain things in this area. And we appreciate that involvement.
It was asked for, and it was it was asked for.
You see that? Can you read that? That's on the screen.
I can. It was asked for, and part of the design, they went bankrupt. The original
That's right.
Went bankrupt. It took a year to settle that. I don't know why it took so long to get them insurance to pay up for the bankruptcy. And then part of the blueprint was scaled back. So there was supposed to be elevators in the building. There are no elevators in the building. There was supposed to be a lot of things that are not there now. And if you've seen it, I don't know if the community voted for that architectural type or not, but I don't guess it makes a lot of difference if it's going to function, but because that place will mean no more than Carver, as long as all the emphasis is placed on Nakalula Falls. See, if you're in Nakalula Falls, you okay. Burning up the animals and everything else, you can be all right if you work it, and then you have a recreation department where folks say they're not going to work call.
Hmm?
They're not going to work call.
Who not gonna work Carver?
Some of the folks at the recreation department.
And why?
You know, well, I guess it's supposed to be in a bad neighborhood. These are black folks. I don't want to be down there.
It's Etowah County. It's Gaston.
Yeah.
Welcome to Gaston.
That goes back to us thinking more highly of ourselves than we ought to.
Exactly. So when we start to look at change is going to be incremental. I don't care how fast we push into it, because you can't change stuff that you don't have knowledge about.
That's
You gotta
right.
get knowledge about what takes place.
Right.
And
See, a
once
lot
you
of
get
people
that
didn't
knowledge,
know that. A lot of people don't know, and people down on Tuscaloosa Avenue in the Carver area, they'll go down Carver. Now, are you saying the recreation people is don't want to work at Carver?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So what happens
Let
when?
me clear this up. I'm
Okay.
saying some of the white folks
Okay.
that work for recreation, been there for the longest, do not want to be a cop.
So what happens when it gets to the point where Carver is closed? And our young people need to know this, is that when you go down there, you can't get in, and it's because you got people who refusing to come and work the facility.
But this is my thought on that, Pastor. If you don't want to work it, it's fine with me. But hire some black folk full time who are not afraid of the community, who will open the place, and don't hire no fools. Excuse me. Don't hire no folk who don't believe in nothing but going around, sitting around, not trying to work. Hire people who understand the needs in our community. Not folks who've been on the job waiting to retire, retired on the job and don't want to be bothered with color folks. We need to put people into those people. I don't care if they don't ever come to Tuscaloosa, but put some qualified staff down there that look like us, that take care of our kids, that'll manage the basketball, that'll manage the programs. That's what we need.
That'll give the same opportunity for that community as is on the mountain and down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With the same level of excellence.
Yes. That's where we have to go. And let me go back to the county for a quick second here. I was on the financial advisory board for the county, and they shut the board down to get me off, and tried some shenanigans to have me come in and vote on something that I was in opposition to. The assumption is that most black folks are stupid. We are not. We're not. I know when I'm being played, And so they just shut that board down because I'm not going to sit in a room and pretend that I'm not black. If you're talking about something that impugns my folk, I'm going to speak up. And that's what I should do. That's what we all should do.
Exactly.
So we got to get some new council people. Got to get a new mayor. It may be a black mayor. It may be a white mayor. But I can tell you this about white folk. White folk take care of their own. And that's no disrespect or dissing white folk. That's what we should do.
That's right. Take
care of our own. Be true to who we are. And I don't hear stuff about my white friends. Okay, you got them, now use it. Get them to do what it is they need to do. Yeah, get them to do what they need to do to make things better for guests, which would include us.
Instead of just talking about you guys.
Yeah. Council people are just people. And when you learn that the opportunity to be a gift to a community through information, then you make a difference. I live in the hood. And so I love living in the hood. That's where I want to be. I want to look across the street and see some black folks. I want to look up On the down the street, you know.
Man, good.
You in the hood. You live in the hood.
Yeah, smell that barbecue from the front porch. I mean, I'm okay with that, but a lot of people not. A lot of people don't think they have arrived until they live on the river. I don't live on the river. It stinks and too many mosquitoes. I want, and I'm not knocking them who want to be on the river, but don't forget from whence you came.
That's
Amen.
right.
Amen. Well, Mr. Zackery, listen. Last topic we're going to talk about tonight: school
Mm,
in the morning.
yeah.
Children are headed back. I know the Gadsden City school system, we're requiring our children as well as our educators to wear masks. Um, what's your take on, do you think that with this, the rise, there's a possibility the school superintendent, uh, not the state superintendent of the schools, as well as the mayor, it's a possibility they may shut down the state again, or what, how you think this is gonna pan out?
Well, they may not, but COVID may shut down the schools. This is baffling to me that folk who don't understand, well, the whole thing is about money. And I know our kids lost a year, but they shouldn't have lost a year. They should have been as diligent about studying virtually as they were about sitting in the classroom. Because, see, black kids have not understood. Black parents have not passed it on to their children in such a way, not all black parents, but in such a way to understand that education is your rocket into a better life. And so I don't know. I just think that with the amount of transmission in this community, it's going to be hard to keep classrooms open. It's going to be extremely difficult. Gadsden, Etowah County, 7 out of 10 folks have not been vaccinated. 7 out of 10. And a whole bunch of those are black people. Don't want to put nothing foreign into my body. I don't, my temple, but you smoking clone. You don't know what's in the clone. It hasn't been Food and Drug Administration certified yet. It's still experimental. Well, everything, bath salt is experimental. You don't know what they're supposed to put in that stuff when they mix it up and sell it to you. The blunt that you're smoking, you don't know what's in. But you're taking a chance. And we just keep on, the school system will have some serious decisions to make. And I hate Mr. Reddick is the person in the position to having to make these locally, but I'm glad he probably is, because some people would make some horrific decisions about our children. If I had a child to go to school, they wouldn't be going. I'd be homeschooled. It's just not, then they sure as hell wouldn't be playing football, you know, or any kind of close-up sport. So we just got to get a grip. Things are not the way they were before this virus. They're not the way. So we got to invent new ways to educate kids. We got to use the ways we already have to educate children and make them better. Not to say build back better. That's Joe Biden's thing. Well, yeah, just build back for us.
It's Bill.
Yes. So I don't think, I am hopeful that the school term will go without being eventful. But every school system that I have looked at across the country, except for 1 or 2, have had to shut down and quarantine, that kind of thing, when they have gone back full force. All teachers, and I hope I'm not insulting any teacher, all teachers should have to have that vaccination before going back into the classroom. But you know, that's a choice thing. We have too many choices. But anyway, I hope, Pastor Huff, that the school system works well with all of the challenges that it has, because our children definitely need a quality education unencumbered by challenges.
Amen. Bishop T, you got anything for Mr. Zackery before we sign off?
No, I just appreciate the wealth of knowledge that you've given us tonight, and making us aware of some very critical issues and the things that we need to do in order to combat where we are, especially with the rendering plant, because I saw the signs. I saw the signs, but I just thought it was that much of another chicken plant. And my thing was, well, you wasn't worried about it in East Gadsden, so I'm grateful for that. Thank you for taking out of your busy schedule and being with us tonight to share the information that we do have.
And Bishop, every day from 12 to 12:30, Monday through Friday, I share this kind of information at 12:40. I know people sort of turning up nose up at WMGJ, but it's the only black radio station we have in the county. And so often we can't listen to whatever, but from 12 to 12:30, I share this kind of information, and I triple source my information. So I'm not passing you off no crap. And so I just appreciate you guys inviting me on. And it's always a pleasure to talk to good black folks.
Amen. Listen, Sharon Maness has a very major role in our system. She's over our elementary schools. Very, very, very important. This is mainly my go-to person. And I don't mind telling it, but this is my go-to person whenever we have issues. I told her one time I didn't know what her role was in our system, but whenever I got a problem, I just call her or I call Dr. Smoot, whatever, get them to try to help me out with different problems we may have in the system. But she said, please take advantage of our before and after school programs. We definitely want to pass.
I was there today at Ignite at the ribbon cutting, and she's very much so an integral part of that. So I have tremendous respect for Miss Menez. She tries to make it happen in our community with the before and the after school programs, and she's a worker. She is not, somebody who wants to sit up and look pretty. She works.
Exactly.
So I'm very pleased to know her.
Amen. And Miss Maness is she, like you said, she makes it happen. Mm-hmm. I don't care what happened. I call her. She may be in the meeting. She'll step out and she'll get right back with me. And so I appreciate all that they do there at the central office. Mr. Zackery, man, we appreciate you joining us today. Now people can put a face with the voice. When they see you, you're probably going to be a celebrity now. We have quite a few who really appreciate the knowledge that you gave on today's show in such a short amount of time. We're gonna have to get you back on here to give us more knowledge. Hey man, we definitely appreciate it. This is Mr. Fred Zackery, Retrospect talk show host from 12 to 12:30 Mondays through Fridays on AM 1240 WMGJ Radio. You can live stream wherever you are in the United States of America by going on with your mobile device or computers on www.wmgjam.com. You can check him out. He deals with true issues in our country and especially in our county here at Etowah County. We thank you so much. You rocking, Bishop, like you want to say something else.
Yeah, I guess that'll be the way I let you know from now that I got something to say.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, at least what we do know is that you may have to put your name in the hat for the run for mayor.
Too old.
Okay, well,
too old.
I
don't have the energy, Bishop, to sit up with a bunch of foolishness.
You have a low tolerance.
No, but I will support that younger person.
Gotcha.
Who puts their hat in the ring and who is doing it. We give them 200% support. But I have never had aspirations for political office. You have to lie too much.
Yeah. Miss Maness, I forgot that she's elementary and special education. I forgot all about that. She does a great job with that. Listen, Mr. Zackery, one last thing. If you can say this in 2 minutes, if you had an opportunity to meet the new mayor of Gaston and you was able to bend their ear and give them some type of advice or some type of input of what would bring this city together and cause it to begin booming, what would you say?
I would say be the mayor for all of the people.
That's a good statement.
That's what I would say.
Good statement.
And when you listen to all of the people, you can congeal an idea whose time has come.
And let me say this, because I know when you start talking about poor, and we start talking about poverty areas, it's not just in the Black community.
Oh no,
we was campaigning with some of with I'll say it, Carolyn Parker when she was campaigning. We went into some areas in East Gaston and in the Mill Village, and they didn't just look like us. So
there's some tar paper shacks over in Mill Village right now.
Right.
And those people are in desperate need of some consideration. They're forgotten too.
Right. Walnut Park area. Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. So it like you said, all the people, all of us matter. All of us matter. So thank you again,
Yes, sir.
Zackery, for joining us here on Real Talk. Bishop, you want to say goodbye to the people?
Goodbye. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
God bless you all. Thank you all for joining us. And until next week, we're out.